can do this. I can do this. It is going to be a rough one, though. Welcome to the Bonnet Chronicles. I am your hostess with the most, Kalari GXC. I am going to get to things. Let me put the word out, but I am not joking, y'all. This has been a very rough day. I think you'd have to be living under a rock or, don't care about U.S. politics or anything in general to not understand what went on today. I opened up with this protest at the Supreme Court. Honestly speaking, I know right now people are feeling all kinds of ways. Some of you are angry, every right to be. Some of you are depressed. There are some literally trying to talk down the things that could have prevented this, which I'm going to pick apart. But what I need people to understand is that all of the energy you see in the sea of people that want to protest and chant about how unfair this was, if they had did this at the polls and elected officials that gave a fuck, we wouldn't be here. And that is the heart of what I'm going to get at tonight. We're going to talk about this. We are going to talk about fraudulent allies because, of course, and putting people on blast is not fun for me, but it has to be done. It has to be done because there are so many people who just don't seem to give a right fuck about the things they say. People who will swear that they are allies and they're not racist as they say stuff like this. And then they try to delete the tweet, not realizing that your idiocy is forever. You don't think there are times where I get emotional and I just want to tweet the first thing that I think of? We have the ability to stop ourselves before we say irreplaceable and irredeemable things online. But some of you feel like there is absolutely nothing that will happen to you bad. I don't like Clarence Thomas more than anybody. I think everything he does spits in the face of the seat that he sat in. A Thurgood Marshall. But to reduce his humanity with that word because you're supposedly angry at the rights that you couldn't tell your fucking demographic to protect. It is infuriating to me. And welcome to the chat, Respect. Welcome to the chat, Terry Antico. But it is not surprising that so many supposed allies were showing their asses today. So many fucking people with complete civic fails, like this genius right here. We did. That's why the whole Democratic Party was in power. They said we need a Democratic majority, right? I need you to understand something about the state majority that we have. It is a technical majority, which means that if not every senator is in line with what we need to do, whether it's protecting voters' rights, whether it's protecting women's rights, we can't get stuff passed. We have a complete split with 3 senators that don't even toe the line for the right thing. So what we have to do is get more Dems in. But if you listen to the Contrarian Brigade, the Do Something Brigade that was yelling all day today, don't do anything at all. You don't know what you're talking about, old woman. Why are you bothering voting? See, you're losing everything everywhere. They have made every fucking excuse not to do their bare minimum that they are the loudest today on social media. Talking about, we gave you. You didn't give me shit because I guarantee you that motherfucker didn't vote. And if he did vote, he voted for Harambe. He was joined by other assholes. It was just a day full of clownery. This one thought he could threaten me. And let me tell you, young man, I know you're stalking my tweets. I know you're stalking my show. If you want to find me, I'm in Michigan. Try it. Because I'm about that life. I don't think people understand that. I have survived domestic violence. I have survived New York City in the fucking 80s and 90s. You think some Twitter fucking warrior is going to fucking scare me? You use the word fucking comrade. You don't even know anything about socialism, and you wouldn't survive in Russia because FYI, they don't like us there either. She's fucking wannabe cosplay socialist. She's got all that mouth. You think, oh, she's a woman, I can smack her down. Bitch, I lift. I guarantee you step to me, you're gonna regret it. I'm not even playing with this shit no more. I've had it with y'all's asses. All day it was just profiles and clownery. Some of yous are just not fucking home trained with your shit. You got these idiots talking about America's falling apart faster than we can comprehend. And you keep telling people to vote because if you had did it in the first place, we wouldn't be here. We tell you to vote because it really is a basic act that could have prevented all of this. What drives me up a wall is how many people will like and share and do this sentiment and the same breath complain. Y'all fighting with elders like Miss Denise about how I'm allowed to feel sad today. I voted once in the Nationals and didn't get everything I wanted. Welcome to the fucking world of being a black woman. We do the right thing because it's the right fucking thing to do. And we don't always fucking win, but it doesn't stop us from doing the right thing because we'll be damned if we go down with apathy. But that's what some of you easily give into. Y'all will jump and parachute into our mentions. The moment we mention white people, you are all over the place today with the not all bullshit. 40% of us voted for Hillary. Where's our pat on the head? You don't get a fucking pat on the head because you couldn't take your ass to your cousins and your sister girls and the people in your fucking circle to say, hey, we can't play around with this. This alleged proximity to power will harm us. We need you to turn out. You didn't talk to your far left brats who decided to put in Harambe if they voted at all, who still think it doesn't fucking matter. I yelled at young brothers all day today. I know I'm wasting my breath with some of them, but it's still not going to stop me from letting them know that they're a disappointment to our ancestors and that their idea of doing nothing gets absolutely nothing. You don't get anything from just not doing anything. I know Magic Grandpa, which was being floated around all day on Twitter today by idiots, it is in people's breath about, oh, he would have shook the walls. The man couldn't even get out of the fucking shower. Bernie Sanders is not a hero. Bernie Sanders is the fucking reason we're in this mess too. Wanting to equate our reality to identity politics, need I remind you. We need to stop looking for a fucking savior and be the front that I keep reminding people every fucking Bonnet Chronicle. All of this was preventable. But I want to remind people because they keep trying to, oh, I'm going to blame Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's no longer here to defend herself, so I'm going to throw it a bit. No. President Obama should have been able to appoint a Supreme Court justice. But I think some of you young people especially forget that back then, Mitch McConnell made it his personal fucking mission, to make sure that Obama could not put a nominee through to the Supreme Court. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, yeah, she could have retired back then. She should have been able to. But she knew that if she had did it, McConnell would have pushed to put somebody awful back then. We couldn't risk it. She gave so much of her life, and her legacy is being crapped on by some fucking dude bro with a fucking anime avatar that doesn't even understand basic civics. Fuck you. You don't turn out in the midterms. We lose control of things. And we did not have control of the Congress and the House back then. Our president's hands were tied. The man that is our current national AG was who he was going to nominate to the Supreme Court. But we couldn't do it. And it is what happens when on a state level isn't willing to work with a president. And it is because people decide to just stay home. It's all a game to you until your fucking rights are in danger. It's all a game to you because you think it's only happening to these people. It's not a fucking game. And when we say this can be done, this protection of our rights, this protection of our abilities to vote, this lack of dehumanization, if we elect officials that give a fuck, That's all you have to do, and there are so many. But that's the only thing I will give it. The hoteps and the broteps are fucking in unison in their fuckery today. And then you have the seditionist parachute, and then it was just a toxic cocktail of stupid all day today of people with shitty takes. And they're shouting down the one thing that would have prevented all of this, us collectively participating in our civic duties. And what drives me up a wall are the people that think, well, shit, it's not enough. But if you're not doing anything, how do you even know? You look at us who struggle to do it and you mock us, but we want better for everybody. That's the whole fucking point of us doing this. And welcome to the chat beans. And then I see people wanting to argue over well, don't just make this about women. And look, our transgender people who can have babies deserve to feel scared by this too. But when I say that all of these attacks are codified and dehumanizing women right now, this is our moment. And I'm sorry if you don't understand that trans women are women too, but this is for all women. This is all fucking baked misogyny being legally passed. It is legally sanctioned hate and dehumanization. This is the shit we've been warning about for years. But we get told we're hysterical. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry your little head. It won't be bad. It is fucking bad. They're literally salivating to mandate this. States like fucking Arkansas and Alabama already chomping at the bit to pass laws that don't protect women from rape, don't protect women from incest. And like I've shared several times, women like me who have miscarried through no fault of our own, because sometimes the body cannot fully carry a pregnancy to term, are now at risk by these archaic laws written by men who don't even fucking know how to fucking please a woman, don't care about women's body, and they're fucking struggle pumping their way through relationships. And now I've got to deal with them legislating. I'm fucking tired of this. We have built a literal society on inequality. We have built a society on treating women, oh, you're fairer, we'll take care of you and protect you. And some women really fell into that role way too well. And they are willing to fuck the rest of us over who just want to live and breathe and be smart and do things our way. Oh no, we want this crafted role of princess, but only princesses like us can really thrive in it. We'll act like we're in solidarity with you as long as we can get that leg up. You white women are fucking exhausting with that. You literally set the fucking norm for dehumanizing us. You vote against all of our self-interest. And then when we call you out, the few of you that do the right things, and I'm not saying all of you, but I know I don't have to get that correct to the chat, but the few of you who do the right things want to fucking pound in the head but don't want to do your part to collect your fucking cousins who are full-on indoctrinated in dehumanizing us. You have all that energy to nod all that energy to talk about how sad you are, but none of that focus to do what we have to do, what we need to do to turn this around, because we cannot afford this. Today is fine for being sad. I was angry all day. I went and I lifted weights. I could not sit there crying because we knew this shit was going to happen. We were saying it. Even with Biden and Harris's win, we lost the Supreme Court. We were called doomsayers. People, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. No, I worried about it. I worried about it the moment the fucking handmaiden got put on there, trotting out her black adoptee kids. I knew there was something wrong with her. I worried when fucking I Like Beer Guys, literal credible story of sexual assault wasn't enough to disqualify him from the highest court in the land. I worried. Y'all should have worried. And now here we are. We literally got a fucking sit-in SCOTUS with an insurrectionist partner. And people have all of these harebrained ideas on what Biden can do. Biden's hands are tied because we have checks and fucking balances. If you wanted a Supreme Court that actually didn't want to dehumanize us, if you wanted a Supreme Court which isn't fucking currently slanted for Mitch McConnell's wet dream, that was on us. And those who didn't vote, you're fucked this up. Not me. My voting report card is solid. But if you didn't turn out in your midterms, whether you win, lost, or drawed, you don't get the right to complain about what happened today. I don't give a fuck. Because what happened today is the direct result of your apathy. And if you have to resort to things like calling Clarence Thomas the N-word because you're angry, you're not an ally and I don't want you in my party. I'm fucking sick of this. Everybody wants us to become the new totalitarian regime because you think what they're doing is effective. The Republican strategy dumbed down our nation. They fucking robbed our school of funds. They made it mandatory test taking instead of actual learning environments. We watched them literally poison this country for years and called it the norm. And now we are dealing with the fallout. Education is at an all-time low. Morale is at an all-time low. And everybody wants to blame the guy that we elected to fucking clean up the mess of the last guy. You don't get to do that. This is not President Biden's fault. And yes, it infuriates people that there were a lot of people that said, we've seen this coming, because we said it. You ignored us the last 8 years saying, please vote. Vote in the midterms. Vote everywhere because it matters. Oh, it's not going to matter. My vote doesn't matter. Why are you always pushing it? It don't matter. Oh, we lost our rights again. It fucking matters. What drives me up a wall is how many people want to riot and cry and rage and say, stack the courts. That's not how this works. Welcome to the chat, Terry Antica. Stacking the courts isn't going to do fuck all, especially if we stack the courts and use idiots to decide, I'm going to stay home this 1 year. I don't feel like dealing with this. I'm going to let the next Republican GOP superstar idiot take over the country. What harm can be done? Because that was the shit they said about Trump. What harm could Trump do? We learned 4 years what harm could be done under his leadership. And if you don't think that they didn't take notes from the city, if you don't think they're not trying to craft that next cult of personality, if you don't think they aren't going to fucking continue their insidious grip, society speaking, their people are indoctrinated. They fully believe they're doing things for the children. They don't care about taking care of a child once the child is there and viable. And if she's a girl, predator bait for them. But they want to convince us that their whole needs is to protect the fucking fetus because life is so precious to them as they scream for death for any inmates. It is a bunch of hypocrisy. It is exhausting. And it drives me up a fucking wall that we let these people take control like this. And they didn't take control like with a fight. That's the problem. A lot of the stuff that they ran for and won, unchallenged. They seeped into our school boards, changed stuff, cried about CRT, and literally got their way because nobody's pushing back. And I know it's hard. It's demoralizing. For those of us who grew up in between, because I'm not going to act like I was always in poverty. I always tried to keep it real. That because of the way my mom wanted to get away and live her life, that's when we learned how to struggle. But the original life I led was nice. My grandparents had money and we lived a nice life, and then my parents decided they wanted to do things on their own and we lived a rougher life. Yeah, didn't always live in the projects, but I lived in the projects long enough to realize that fucking that life is not something a lot of people choose to have. And if you have the ability to choose that and do it on purpose, you're an idiot. But there are a lot of people that don't have that choice. There are a lot of people that struggle And you can't just tell them, oh, up and move. You got fucking Harley. This is their strategic plan. To make liberals mad and run away to other cities so that they can have their right-wing paradise. Ain't nobody got the money to move. Y'all have made it where COVID shut down so much of our industry. We had to restructure everything. We're not being able to just up and move. I did it because I'm stubborn. But I don't see anybody just being able to do that. And I'm still recovering from that. Just moving from state to state takes time. It takes energy. And if you're black, you have the extra layer of people not wanting to fucking rent to you in the first place. So no, you can't just tell people in Texas, in Arkansas, Alabama, and Florida to just fucking move. But what you can do is take all that energy that your nosy ass is to DC with and organize actual ballots being cast. Make sure people can get to the polls safely and securely. All of you who fix your face to hold up signs to talk about women's rights. But never fucking chastise. You're going to sit during Thanksgiving across from the people that knowingly, willingly voted for this because they're indoctrinated to keep the peace, to get back to normal. I don't want to hear shit all from any of you about what's going on today if you are not focused. And like I said, I understand getting upset about today. I really do. I wanted to shed tears today, but I couldn't because every single black woman knew. We all knew. We were saying this to you for years. Pay attention. Focus on what's important. We told you to back Hillary in 2016. And I tell people all the time, I wasn't even sure where I was in 2015 at first. Magic Grandpa almost got me because as a mom of somebody who's going to be going to college, his free college originally had me going, that seems interesting. And all these people saying things on Facebook like, oh, don't be a vagina voter, Clinton this, Clinton that. 30 years of fucking propaganda against a woman who busted her ass for this country. It took my friend, who I ended up putting in my book as a protagonist, saying, Tim, you are a number cruncher. Just crunch the numbers that Bernie Sanders put out there and tell me what you get. Just calculate what Medicare for all would be. You did this for a living. And when I broke down everything he said to me, I was like, what the fuck? It was like he threw cold water on me and snapped me out of the phase. And it wasn't a long phase, but it was enough for me to donate to his campaign and everything because I thought he was a real deal. And then when I seen the tantrums he threw at the DNC, the tantrums he threw when we all should have gathered together and backed Clinton, I realized not only was my friend right, but this man is going to be a fucking detriment. People are still bringing him up. Bernie Sanders couldn't even fucking win in his own fucking state. Y'all won't even turn out for him. If you aren't focused and voting for your own revolution, how the fuck is that supposed to happen? You expected us to be your work mules. And that's not how this works. A man that can't even fucking stay in a commune, literally got kicked out of a commune, and is not going to fucking run our country any better. And as far as I'm concerned, he's just another Putin-installed distraction that we don't need. And if that motherfucker runs in 2024, if he's not dust in 2024, he's going to get embarrassed again because women like me will never willingly vote for him. He showed me who he really is. He continues to show me who he really is. He equates this very real attack on our freedoms, attack on our abilities to be here as identity politics. That's not a man I want as my president. And I fucking refuse. And oh my gosh, the amount of people trying to push these progressives who now are getting airtime and people want to interview them is infuriating because they don't vote for us. They are a waste of a seat, and we definitely need to not only primary but replace them. And we really need to start investing ourselves politically. I know it feels like, oh, it's a waste of time. It takes time. This has been collective social conditioning for years. Collectively, we've had people downplay and talk down being politically invested. You got people who are famous who think, I'm famous. I don't have to think about it. And you don't have to think about it either. Because they only care about making themselves comfortable. And I'm telling you right now, when you vote beyond yourself, you actually help yourself. It really is that simple, and that's why so many people want to fucking shout it down and talk against it. They know how fucking effective it is when we have effective legislators. And we are seeing how effective it is when incompetent legislators get their way. Roe versus Wade lasted for 50 years. Almost 5 years longer than I've been on this earth. And we took it for granted, and now it's gone. We have to stop doing this. We have to stop giving into that easy mode, that easy, lax mentality of, I don't want to think about it. And when I say we, I know my sister girls know I'm not talking to them. We constantly show up and show out, and I know right now y'all are tired. And I want to talk to black women right now because I know we do the right thing all the time. We turn out because we know better. We've had the family talk to us. We know that even if we don't win at times, we are doing our part to show them that we will always turn out. But we're tired. Every time we try to save this country, we get kicked in our ass for it. We are going to be the ones that hurt the most from these fucking archaic laws. They want to target us. We have every right now to be upset. Every right now to be angry. But I don't want you to lose that focus because we are. We're like the Dora Milaje of this. People might get upset at me for saying that. People might get upset at me for, it's not fair for you to say that to black women. But that has always been our role, is to be the better people. To be the ones to show the right way, whether people want to follow us or not. To be the guides away from this fuckery. And I know right now we're tired. Our shoulders are fucking dented from constantly being stepped on and disrespected. But we can't if we give up, that's it, it's game over. We are the front against this fuckery. We are the ones that they are constantly trying to drag into grave, but we are the highest group of educated. We are the ones that push despite being scorned and hated because we know our value. We didn't need anybody else to tell us because nobody does. And that's why I'm saying right now, you have every right to be upset right now, but do not give in to apathy. There are a few sister girls trying that pick-me shit. I don't know whether they think the views and engagement is enough. It's not. And you will find out really quick them social bros are going to treat you like shit if you don't continue to say everything they want. Don't be that puppet. Be your own person. You are literally a part of the group of the most reliable, solid, politically invested, educated voting bloc. Don't embarrass me by spreading that foolishness of fuckery just to try to get a few likes and views. Some of these young girls on here are really acting out of pocket thinking that that attention is enough. It really isn't. I don't for the life of me understand why you would go against everything we know works. Voting works. It's effective. That's why they try so hard to gerrymander us. That's why they try so hard to shut down polling places. They didn't want us using our voice because they know if they can get more Josh Harleys, who's not a voice for anybody but straight Christian white men, they can pass laws to dehumanize us. If we get more Laura Underwoods who recognize mother mortality, if we get more people who represent the melting pot, those of you who think that I'm not seen anyway, will finally fucking be seen. But if you do nothing, if you invest nothing, that is exactly what you get out of this situation. It's basic math. And I can't believe that in the year 2022, I am literally living the beginning of a fucking dystopian novel, but here we are, and people want to be cutesy about it. It's going to be the Handmaid's Tale. Because some of you think that you're going to be those elite wives, living in the big house while you force some young girl to bear your kid. That's not the reality of this situation. The reality of this situation is there's going to be a lot more men taking advantage of people who can't say no. A lot more young girls scared, dealing with something that they shouldn't have to. A lot more forced births and a lot more chaos because we humans have not learned how to respect each other. We built a society on inequality. I'm almost to get praising biblical stories of, oh, women were made for men, so you get to disrespect them collectively. And we just said okay to that shit. And because of this imbalance that we will not address fully, that we act like it's no big deal until they do shit like this, until laws like this destroy our lives. It's time to collectively look at how this imbalance has destroyed our society, because we cannot do this, y'all. The hate for women is rooted in these laws. The hate for women is so baked into our society that internalized misogyny is a thing. And it's why so many women didn't take it seriously when we told them, please don't vote for Trump. It's why so many of them still are laughing at our pain. Because they think, I'm close enough to power to be all right. This is just going to hurt women that aren't like me. Oh, you mean I can't get them either? What? I wasn't expecting the consequences of my actions. And then worse yet, the supposed allies. And like I said tonight, y'all were the worst today. Like I get being angry and upset. Roe versus Wade should have been fucking codified. We were screaming it for years. Codify it so that it can't be taken away. But that wasn't the reality of the situation, because we have to still do things legally. There are checks and balances so that we can't just force things because it makes us feel good. That is the reality of being a grown-up. And yeah, it fucking sucks. And it would be better if we had legislators that gave a fuck. But guess what we need to do to have those? Actually vote. But the amount of people who want to not all today, the amount of people who want to fucking say, oh, 40% of me. So you sure you can't make me feel bad? Dude, for real? That's what you took from this. Your collective demographic actively votes against all of our best interests, and you want a pat on the head. You're part of this fucking problem. It is exhausting dealing with the open-faced bigots. The people who automatically will smile in your face as they vote against everyone and everything because they think it's their God-given right. They'll get in some afterlife sky paradise for doing it. But the people who are trying to convince me that they are on the right side of good as they devolve to saying the N-word about black people, as they whine about their vote not mattering, as they continuously push for bullshit instead of doing the thing that could help us all by voting and making sure that everybody in their circle is voting. It's just beyond me at this point. And everybody wants to point fingers and play the blame game and ignore the turnout is still not where it needs to be. We don't even have to look far back. The Pennsylvania turnout for the Democratic primary is a prime example of why we can't trust y'all in the midterms. Why we need people to turn out. Now we are stuck having the back Fetterman versus Oz. And I can't get my hopes up right now because you didn't even take this seriously. We are only barely 2 years out of Trump's funk. And people are still not taking their civic duty seriously. And it's almost like you want this bad to happen because you somehow think, well, something good will come out of it. A lot of people are going to fucking die from this. I don't see the good coming out of this. And it didn't fucking have to be. And what kills me is it would take a bare minimum investment on your part to ensure that it didn't happen. And you would rather sit on Twitter for a fucking heart from some rando to say, it doesn't matter. You are the fucking worst. And then even worse yet, you want to convince me that you support somebody like fucking Bernie Sanders when the poll numbers don't lie. You barely turned out at 14% during the primaries for him. You can't organize enough energy to vote for the things you care about, yet you want to ding me? This is why I don't get political advice from the fucking kiddie table of politics. You just want to be taken seriously, and all you do is fucking concern troll in people's Twitter mentions. If you want me to take you seriously, you need to have a fucking voter report card like mine. I don't talk to anybody that don't fucking vote. The other side falls in fucking line. All you gotta do is say, baby's lives on the line. It don't matter if I'm a violent, racist, misogynistic pig. I'm standing up for the fetuses. And they fucking fall in the line. They know what that person's saying is bullshit. They know they don't even fucking care about the right to life. But they fucking do their collective bare minimum. But what's worse is how many of them get into positions of power through uncontested means, and that is on us too. If you see a ticket where only a Republican's running, and you know there's not just Republicans in your state, you need to start organizing and doing that. I've seen people form groups for everything. Whether it's fandoms, whether it's TV shows, whether it's their favorite book or movie. Why can't we do this for politics? And yes, I know like any fandom is going to be toxic, and I'm a K-Hive affiliate. I love the K-Hive for the most part. We're not all perfect people in there. Also, because the group is so well known, there are a bunch of pretenders and exploiters too. That's the reality of any fandom. I'm not going to let the bad outweigh the good of being a part of a group that not only supports our current vice president and the trajectory that we're trying to get her towards the presidency, but the fact that we are a coalition of actual voters. And that is what you all need to do, and not just to troll people on Twitter and argue, but to actually get them ballots cast. Because until you're on that level, you can say whatever the fuck you want about the K-Hive, but what you won't say is that we don't vote, because we are fucking at those polls. We are at that ballot. We make sure our voices are heard. And that is something that I think a lot of these groups just don't get. Had people retweet in Gang of all people today. A fucking carpetbagger, if you ever seen one. And for those of you who don't know what carpetbagger is, you're going to get a little lesson tonight. Carpetbagging is a term that we use for political people who live in one state but campaign in other states that they feel they might have an easier time in. And he is carpetbagged in the national election. He is carpetbagged in the senatorial election in New York. He has tried to run for things because he is trying to find his niche. He is a blight. And today, on the day that women are already collectively panicking, on the day where trans people who can carry kids are already feeling the brunt of a nation who wants to dehumanize us, because I don't want to leave my transgender friends out of this conversation, despite what people think. I see y'all. But on this day that we really could use people who understand the assignment, Andrew Yang decided to piss on the two-party system. Why? Because the Republicans don't want his dumb ass. And our party has no use for people like him. You can't just put a D by your name and then shit all over our party and say, give me your votes. You can't do stunts at bodegas and act like you're down because you think, that'll get it. I'll just do a stunt and people will vote for me. Black people want substance. We have seen what happens when we put your little stunters in charge of shit. We let you have little fucking people like the Squad and they're wasting their time. So no, Mr. Yang. And if you think you can do better than the two-party system, feel free. Nobody is stopped from creating. There are literal. I love how people talk about the two-party system, but there are so many registered political parties. They're just not viable right now. And that's the reality of the situation, that narrative gets shut down all the time. Yes, there are two major political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. But the lie that there's only a two-party system, no. They're just two parties that people No. And if there was an independent that actually made sense, that wasn't with a fucking fringe ideal of wackatoo thing like the fucking Green Party, who only wanted to talk about the environment, but fuck your rights. Only want to talk about the environment, but maybe we should allow racism. One of the things I seen today, or was it yesterday? It's been the last few days. A young lady who said the Dems messaging should drop. LGBT, pro-LGBT stuff, pro-racism stuff, and focus on a certain demographics feelings. And this sentiment has been going around, not just the far left, but the white Dems who swear up and down that our allies. You swear to God that leaving us behind will somehow trickle down on us. That shit didn't work during the Reagan years, it's not going to work now. And it's infuriating in this day and age. Let me see, because I know I saved a screenshot of that shit. I couldn't believe that young lady said that shit, but I shouldn't. I shouldn't be shocked by any of this stuff. Let me see, is it? No. That was that. You're part of the problem, Gen Xer guy. That shit made me, like, what you're calling me old? I don't care. I am old. I earned being old. And you trying to put this on my generation is some bullshit. We didn't make this mess. We just surviving through it like most people. Where is it? I tried to find this picture though. I just could not believe the bullshit that people were saying and like patting themselves on the fucking back for saying things like, well, if the Dems messages center us. And it's like, what more message do you need besides vote for your rights because you'll lose them? It is insane to me that people don't get that. It is insane to me that people still in this day and age think we can leave anybody behind, that there's an acceptable level of bigotry in this. But it doesn't surprise me that the people who are used to being catered to will say shit like that. It isn't freaking sipping. And I don't see it right here. I'm not sure if I saved it on here or on my phone. I just couldn't believe that nonsense. Does this say receipts are forever? Yeah, there we go. Receipts are forever. Let me bring this nonsense up because I could not believe this woman said this. And just the amount of people who will agree with this sentiment is why we are going to see more pain than happiness, more idiocy before we get better. You have this. I'm about to give some free advice. Bitch, you can keep it. Gender rights, LGBT equality, and same-sex marriage is not a winner. You know, things that most of us are just trying to have. Something that she takes for granted as a cisgendered straight white woman. I agree that to equality and freedom of choice, but do not campaign on these issues. It turns voters off. Lean left, center, and center right cringe. The problem with everything in that messaging, it's a thought that we need to leave people behind instead of thinking beyond ourselves. Is that lean into selfishness. There's so many people who will yell at us that, I'm your ally. You're talking about white people are hurting my feelings. My feelings are more important than your reality. I want to call what's going on to you, even though it's violent, horrible racism, identity politics, so I don't have to think about it. I just want my needs taken care of. I want to hear about my student debt problems because my proximity to power is money, and if I get more of it, I'm happier. You ain't fucking fooling anybody. Telling the Dems that their messaging isn't solid enough when the other side is literally stripping us of everything we fought for. Everything you want to yell at boomers for. And then you want to copy boomer protests, but you know what the boomers did along with those protests? They fucking voted. They didn't just take pictures going down to Selma and marching for their rights. They followed it up with a fucking ballot. And if you're not going to do this, all of those protests don't mean shit. All of that gathering doesn't mean shit because you're not translating it to the way it needs. Everything this current SCOTUS is doing is legally allowed. So the only way we are going to fight them is the legal means. And I get that for the microwave and lazy brain generation, you just don't want to fucking do it. You just don't want to think on that level. But you're going to fucking have to. And welcome to the chat, folks. Exactly. They are. They have absolutely no idea what we went through. They see pictures of people protesting in the 60s and think, oh, I could do that too. That's how they got change. That was one of the race. And they didn't want to be out there. Because out there back then especially was dangerous. Out there they had police ready to turn the hoses on them. And dogs. And literally shoot them. Going to those protests, especially when you went down to the south from up north, meant there's a good chance you might not return home. They did it anyway because it was all we could do. And we shouldn't be fucking going back to those times. But in this day of stunt for power, we are going to see a lot more people out there protesting thinking that's enough. And then when we ask them, okay, what's your follow-up? Are you going to vote? Nah, man, I can't be bothered with that. I know our rights just got stripped. I know they just took a bunch of stuff from us. I know my state legislator isn't on the up and up. But why should I worry about that? Why should I do my basic civic duties? It ain't going to matter anyway. That fucking attitude is why we're here right now. Why something that lasted for 50 fucking years is now gone. And this was fucking McConnell's fucking chef's kiss strategy play. I hate Mitch McConnell for every fucking fiber of my being. But I have to give it to him. That motherfucker laid out years ago what he wanted to do. He went on record. There's literal record of him saying that he was going to obstruct the Obama administration. He wanted to make him a one-term president, which didn't succeed. And when President Obama won that second term, he went into his strategy. Not only pushing the only guy that people knew on a name brand recognition to openly antagonize and racially charge attack him in Donald Trump, but he went looking for yes men and yes women that would fall completely obediently in the line behind these SCOTUS picks. It was funny that during the Obama administration, we had several people trying to do the right thing because I like legislators that want to do things the right way legally. I know some of you want us to be thugs, but that shit will bite us in the ass. We need those checks and balances. But people got on us for doing things the right way. And we watched as you sat home and let this motherfucker's plan fall into action. Because his people will fall in the fucking line. And it put in the handmaiden. Put in the I like beer guy. Bush put in fucking Clarence Thomas. Who, did I remind you, sexually harassed Anita Hill. I was young when that trial came out, those confirmations. But I'll never forget Miss Hill taking all the heat and blame for something that wasn't her fault. All the disrespect that she got for that man's disgusting behavior, and he still got to be a sitting SCOTUS, making decisions that will directly impact my life. It fucking vexes me. But I'm not asking you to burn shit down because that is not realistic. I'm asking you to do your fucking bare minimum so that we can legally, strategically outdo these idiots. And some of you are just giving in to apathy. Some of you just don't care in the first fucking place because you still think you're going to be all right. And after the last few years, if you had that luxury of not being touched by COVID, I envy you. If you had the luxury of not having the shifting uncertainty of the unknown, I envy you. But the rest of us who have constantly had to struggle and survive, we have absolutely no excuse not to be politically invested because our fucking lives depend on this. Apathy breeds loss of freedom. Apathy breeds loss of rights, and apathy breeds dehumanization that we can watch legally happen to us. We have to be the ones to stop what happened today. And no, it's not going to come from just making demands, especially if you're not following those demands up with a vote. You can yell till your fucking face is blue online, on TikTok, in fucking tweets. But if you're not going to vote for decent representation, you can't say fucking shit about what happened today. It has to be followed up with action. And I know for some that it's easier to think, I don't have to do anything. It doesn't matter anyway. Until it fucking hits your doorstep. And even if you are one of the few golden children who you think you're going to be all right anyway. Your demographic's the chosen one. Shit's going to come for you. Even if you think you're doing just the bare minimum right thing, but you're not confronting those around you because you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to be ostracized. You care what people think about it. That's the shit about this society that kills me. They have socially conditioned us to worry about what other people think to the detriment of us. So many people raised with so many insecurities, afraid to just be themselves because they want to be liked. Fuck being liked. Fuck being popular. You're gonna let that shit run us all into the fucking ground so you can say these weirdos that you don't even fucking know like you? Get over it. If anything, social media shit taught you that none of this shit's worth it. It's fleeting. You never know when you're gonna fucking give an opinion that people are gonna state, I don't like that person anyway. So don't live your life for that shit. Start working on being confident in yourself and start taking seriously that your inactions have a ripple effect. It really takes us getting collectively stronger in ourselves, smarter in our abilities. We have these fucking devices that put knowledge at our fingertips. We are factose, intolerant. Anything that doesn't make us feel good automatically, you just want to shun. But the truth, while it might hurt, will set you fucking free. And there are way too many people afraid of a harsh truth that might hurt a little bit, but motivate you to do better over a lie that not only coddles but strangles any chance of good we have. That's why people want to lie against history and scream CRT at anything that doesn't teach about the founding fathers being the greatest thing instead of a bunch of slave-holding rapists. It's why people idolize the wrong kind of people. I had people parachuting in my mentions today trying to argue with me about Liz Cheney. And let me tell you something. I don't give a fuck how you feel about somebody. But when you come at me sideways talking about both things could be true about Liz Cheney, shut the fuck up. This woman went on record today, despite everything that she's doing in the January 6th committee, to praise this legislation that overturns Roe versus Wade because she's a fucking handmaiden. So no, I don't have to accept the fact that you want her to be your hero. Because some of you really want that whole GOP reformist era that isn't going to fucking happen on my watch. Some of you really want them to reinvent themselves because you still have to deal directly with your relatives that are full-on indoctrinated. And some of you really still think that proximity to power, you can sit the fence and play the game. But you're not fucking fooling me. And there is absolutely no reason for you to be defending Liz Cheney right now when her first fucking tweet out the bat is supporting stripping my fucking rights away. She's not a hero. She's just doing her fucking job and trying to salvage the shitty reputation she has because they're all tainted by Trump's stench. Her, the Lincoln Project, all of them fuckers are all the same. They are opportunists. And while we can utilize them to get what we need done, like taking down these insurrectionists and shutting down anybody who dares to run against us right now, do not act like these enemies are my friends, because they're not. They are the reason we're in this fucking predicament. And they would full on be happy to take us to a worse place in the name of their God. That's why I can't get sold on their bullshit. Their ideology of a Christian society where young girls don't get a say in how smart they can be or what age they can get married to, groomed to be a bride to some old guy who fucks them silly, fills them up with kids, and then leaves them when they get too old for the next one. That is their idea of a paradise, and they're trying to turn our fucking current society into that. Wasn't about an afterlife of paradise. They want their fucking paradise now. And they don't care how many of us suffer from it. And they'll use their fucking faith to reinforce why they want to do that. And it's funny. They'll talk shit about other faiths doing that. Oh, the way that Muslim men treat their women is horrible. And I'm not saying that that society is perfect either. But I don't have a foot in that door, so I mind my business with that. I can only talk about what I've grown up in with these Christian men who think they can full on treat women like shit in one breath and then act like we're supposed to just spread our legs and pop out babies for you until you're done with us. The root of our society's disconnect has always been in the disrespect of women. And the fact that this ruling happened, it isn't shocking, but what's disheartening is how many people still making excuses. How many people that want to lean into just hating us for existing. How many people want to fucking silence our voices and not do their bare minimum and argue. How many people want to make this a generational thing as if one generation has only suffered over the next and make it about, oh, you know, my daughters are going to go through some things. Your mothers went through some things. Your grandmothers went through some things. And it wasn't fair for us to all be collectively going back to this because you let apathy win. And that is the core message that I want to keep reinforcing tonight. Get upset tonight if you need to. Spend the day doing things to cope. But you get your fucking 4-year beyond plan together after that. Find out who is running in your state and local elections. Invest yourself politically because it is the only chance we have against this. Do not let the seeds of apathy claim the good mentality that you have built up if you are already a voter. And do not let those voices talk you out of doing the one thing that you can do to help us all. Because that's what these clowns want. They think it's a fucking game. They think they can thrive upon the ashes. Bitches, you don't even go to the polls. You're no phoenixes. You're a waste of space. You just need to stop getting your political advice from fucking Joe, I don't want to vote guy on Twitter, and start listening to the people who vote beyond ourselves, who understand that we are always the first to fall when shit goes down. So we don't want that. And we know that a better society benefits even awful people, but that is a price you pay for a better fucking society. Hey, welcome to the chat, aggravated proctologist. I feel infuriated today. It has been a day of literal fury, but I am focused. I don't think the Republicans realize at this point what they have done. It isn't just about being upset. It is about channeling that upset into productive ways. One of the things I bitched about 2 weeks ago was my absentee ballot. Because I guess because a caveat to the GOP here, they don't have just a permanent absentee ballot. You have to constantly fill out paperwork to be put on it. I didn't realize that because I'm a disabled American. I figured, hey, I can be on a permanent absentee ballot because of my health status. Technically speaking, I should be able to, but there's a lot of leaps and bounds to do that. I will be doing that soon. But until then, I will fill out the form every time I have to. Filled out the form last week and waited. Kept checking the voter registration site. Nothing. Got scared because our midterms start in August here. We have a lot of measures on the ballot and we have a bunch of fuckers gunning for the governor, and I want to make sure my voice counts. My polling place is not that far, but COVID's still a thing. So I was panicking. Reached out to Barbara Campbell, who is in charge of voting stuff and let her know, hey, look, I know that stuff is slammed. I appreciate the work you do. What's going on? I don't see that I'm getting absentee ballots. That's all I had to do. She let me know my absentee ballot will be mailed out, that I am on the list, that my application got taken. We have to be the ones proactive about this. I know with COVID, it's going to be tougher. Even if I had to mask up, keep in the car until I absolutely had a chance to get in and out, I would have did that too, because it is so vital that we turn out during these midterms. It is so vital that we elect state level politicians that are willing to work with this administration to do better. And enough of you need to understand the civics of this. Because right now, the moment they dequalify Roe versus Wade, everybody who had archaic anti-abortion laws in the wings went into effect. This is why we say these shits matter. This is why we say know who represents you on the state level. It all adds up. And there are far too many people who've been indoctrinated to believe that it doesn't matter. That they don't have to worry that, your vote don't matter. It fucking does. And if you are 18 years and older and can vote and don't, to me, you're just as responsible as the people who willingly voted for us to lose our rights today. It is on us. Now, I'm going to be back on Tuesday night. I really do appreciate all of you who have been supportive. I know it's been a tough week. I let you know, and we're working on it. We have so many people who were kind. Greg gave y'all his resume. Hopefully that'll help. His company is downsizing. So that's just another hurdle we weren't expecting, but it's going to be okay. We put out the book. Sales are doing better than I thought, and I really, truly appreciate everybody who is downloading Axiom. I'm grateful. I know that to get anything, I got to keep pushing. That means everything that I want in life. I know that nothing's ever promised to me, and that if I want to get anything, I've got to put in the effort. And I know that even then, bad things sometimes happen. But the moment you give up and give in, what's the point? I'm going to keep pushing. And I hope that you continue to push with me. But I will be back, well, tomorrow for probably gameplay stuff. But Tuesday for another Bonnet Chronicles. Sunday I'll be on for my static group in DDO. I'm looking forward to it. We have a new expansion, Isle of Dread. There's just so much on the horizon that I am more hopeful for, because if you're this fired up and angry, you need to be focused. But I'm going to wrap this up. Go have dinner with Axiom and try to relax. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will definitely see y'all next week. And yes, definitely, Isle of Dread is so much fun. I am looking forward to playing a little bit tonight too. So, but I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. See you all tomorrow if you're in for the Let's Play.